Hey, it's me, Pinky C, yet again. I'm working on a setup for this. So far, it's really not doing good. Right now, I have my phone, which is what I use as a camera, propped up with a pill bottle, an old pill bottle, and some incense that I stuffed under it to make it hold it up, and my selfie stick. So, and the lighting is literally the living room light and this little desk lamp I have right here so you can see this side of my face. So I am working on a background, a layout, a setup that will reflect who I am. My best friend in the whole wide world, Lee, my queen, my everything, my Pookie, my best friend, he's like, girl, you need to move your hands more, you need to have a background, make sure that your makeup's good. And I'm like, yes, thank you, darling. I know I need to work on these things. So those of you watching, I am working on those things. This video, obviously, I promised you I would give you the definitions of schizoaffective, PTSD, and bipolar disorder. And I have that information right here. So we're going to start. As you know, these are things I've been diagnosed with. And schizoaffective disorder probably will not show up in my title because it is such a rare diagnosis. 0.3% of the population in all, I guess in all the world. It says of the population, so I'm assuming of the world, are diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder. So it's very rare. So it's not seen very often. I'm going to read exactly what the NAMI.org site says about it. Remember, I am in no way sponsored by these people. They are a nonprofit organization. I just highly support them because of what they're doing. And so I'm just advocating something I believe in. Please go check out their website. Like I said, it's NAMI.org. That is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. That's what NAMI stands for. So let's begin. As I said, this is going to be a difficult video for me. It's already been a difficult day. I woke up in a complete panic attack. It happened to me. And then when I tried to put my makeup on, I got the eyeliner in my eye and my whole eye turned black. It was great. But let's begin. So schizoaffective disorder is a chronic mental health condition characterized primarily by symptoms of schizophrenia, such as hallucinations or delusions, and symptoms of a mood disorder, such as mania and depression. Now, that's the first little paragraph. And what they mean by hallucinations and delusions, this is where the stigma begins. This is where people think of movies, and they think of some guy on an LSD trip and sees spiders and claws his eyes out, okay? Over time, when I was a child, I did have really bad hallucinations, and I truly believed they were real. And I had a very religious family who did the best they could, but unfortunately taught me that I was possibly seeing demons. I was brought up Jehovah's Witness by my grandparents. I am not a Jehovah's Witness. I want to make that clear right now. I'm not of that religion, but that is how I was brought up. And so it was very hard for me to finally accept what I was seeing wasn't real. But over time, a lot of adults are able to recognize that they are having a hallucination. There are people who cannot, and that is a very serious and severe fear. I'm not going to say names, but as I've said, there are people in my family who also suffer, and I had a family member who believed they were seeing their own severed head in trees. And it was very real for this person. And I had to help them through it. And I've had my own hallucinations. A friend of mine, actually an ex-boyfriend of mine who is still very close to me, had to hold me all night and stay up with me because I believed, truly believed, there was something in the hallway that was going to come in and get me. These are delusions. These are hallucinations. But they're not constant. They don't come on all the time. And often you can tell when they're fixing to happen because we're having a breakdown at that moment. So there will be signs of a breakdown, emotional problems and often crying or losing control of emotions before it gets to that point. So it's not like the movies where they just all of a sudden go crazy most of the time. I'm sure there are people who go through that, but I am not one of them. Depression and mania. Depression is a sadness that you cannot get rid of. So everybody feels a little bit depressed sometimes, but often they're able to get their minds off of it and move past it. With true depression, you cannot get your mind off of it. You cannot get past it because you cannot feel joy in any way. There was a scientist that was doing a study, and he said it the best: depression is when you cannot enjoy the sunrise. And a lot of people laughed when he said it, and he kind of smiled. But the thing is, that is the absolute truth. Nothing gives you joy when you are stuck in that depression. And in mania, people think mania is a good thing because you seem happy, you seem jumpy and all around the place. But you're also making horrible decisions where you feel like you are invincible, because mania affects your mind, and you are too manic. You are too overzealous on everything. So mania is no better than depression. It says because because schizoaffective disorder is less well studied than the other two conditions, being schizophrenia and bipolar, many interventions are borrowed from the treatment approaches, such as the treatments for schizophrenia and bipolar. Symptoms: hallucinations, which are seeing or hearing things that aren't there; delusions, which are false, fixed beliefs that are held regardless of contradictory evidence. I have that really bad, where it's sort of an OCD thing where you believe if you do not do this, bad things will happen to you. Disorganized thinking. A person may switch very quickly from one topic to another or provide answers that are completely unrelated. I do this horribly. This is me constantly. I cannot stay on one subject. That is why I have paperwork to do this video with you, because if I don't, I'll be gone. I'll be on a tangent about something that happened in my childhood and we're done. Depressed mood and manic behavior. If a person has been diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder, depressive type, they will experience feelings of sadness, emptiness, feelings of worthlessness, or other symptoms of depression. Me, all the time. And anybody else with any kind of depression goes through this. And when they say worthless, they mean we feel worthless. As in, why try? Because we're just going to fuck it up. We're just going to mess it up. We're just pieces of shit, and there's no reason for us to try. It truly feels that way. So when they say a feeling of worthlessness, they mean to the point that you don't even want to move. And manic behavior, feelings of euphoria, racing thoughts, increased risky behavior, and other symptoms. Yeah, my racing thoughts are terrible, where I just jump and jump and jump and jump and jump. If you watch my videos, I'm sure eventually you're going to see this side of me. It can be caused by genetics, brain chemistry and structure, stress, and drug use. Definitely the genetics, brain chemistry, and stress. Absolutely. And then we're going to move on. It goes into treatment and things like that. I would like to say one more thing. To be diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder, a person must have the following symptoms: a period during which there is a major mood disorder, either depression or mania, that occurs at the same time that symptoms of schizophrenia are present, which I did; delusions or hallucinations for 2 or more weeks in the absence of a major mood episode. I have delusions every single day, beliefs that I cannot get past and beyond. I'm sure eventually I'll have friends on this channel who can tell you what they have experienced with me. Symptoms that meet criteria for a major mood episode are present for the majority of the total duration of the illness. So, yeah, as I've already said, I don't want to continue saying the same thing over and over. I'm trying not to do that, even though that is something I'm bad at doing, is repeating myself over and over. People get so frustrated with me because I don't remember telling stories. I don't remember sharing experiences, and so I will say them again and again and again. Bipolar disorder is a mental illness that causes dramatic shifts in a person's mood, energy, and ability to think clearly. So, for days on end, I have no energy, I can't move, and then there will be days where I'm bouncing and just going everywhere, and that is part of being bipolar, which is part of being schizoaffective. Schizoaffective is schizophrenia and bipolar together, and my first diagnosis was bipolar 1, which I have information on. So there are 4 types of bipolar disorder. There's bipolar 1, bipolar 2, cyclothymic disorder, and regular bipolar disorder, or also called other specified and unspecified. So bipolar 1 disorder, which was my original diagnosis, is an illness in which people have experienced 1 or more episodes of mania. Most people diagnosed with bipolar 1 will have episodes of both mania and depression, though an episode of depression is not necessary for diagnosis. To be diagnosed with bipolar 1, a person's manic episodes must last at least 7 days or be so severe that hospitalization is required. So, of course, this makes me sound totally insane, but hey, I'm Pinky C, the mental kid. Go figure. So if you want to know more about bipolar, like I said, please go to the NAMI.org site and search bipolar disorder. I'm just kind of touching on the things about me for now. Like I said, if there are people out there who have a diagnosis they would like me to tell the world about because they don't want their face out there or they can't face doing it themselves, I understand that. Social anxiety is terrible. It is something I also go through every day. These videos come out so late because I have to force myself a lot of times now to do them. Today was definitely a force myself type situation. Not because I don't enjoy doing it. Once I get to doing it, I love it. But facing it becomes a difficulty because of social anxiety. So I do understand that feeling. If you need me to be your voice, please let me know. I will be there. And then I told you I also have PTSD. And you're going to wonder why I have PTSD. So we'll talk about that for a minute. Just a quick overview of PTSD, the symptoms, and then I guess I'm going to have to tell you why. The symptoms of PTSD fall into the following categories: intrusive memories, which can include flashbacks of reliving the moment of trauma, bad dreams, and scary thoughts. Avoidance, which can include staying away from certain places or objects that are reminders of the traumatic event. A person may also feel numb, guilty, worried, or depressed, or having trouble remembering the traumatic event. Disassociation, which can include out-of-body experiences or feeling that the world is not real. Hypervigilance, which can include being startled very easily, feeling tense, trouble sleeping, or outbursts of anger. And I have all of these. And again, I am not saying names. The person I'm talking about is still out there, alive, well, having children, and married, and apparently has fixed his life. But when I was 13, I was naive and gullible and very much into the whole idea of my screen just changed to a very colorful background. That's why I lit up. But I was very naive, and I wanted love, and I wanted that sense of Prince Charming, and I fell in love with a guy who lived directly beside us. And I had been taught that the man is the king of the castle, and you do as he says, and I was also kind of taught that men are mean, and to be aware that most men are monsters because of some other things that happened in our family. So I had this mixed preconception that men will be men and mean, and that I was to expect that, but that men were the king of the castle. So I started dating this guy, and I was obsessed with him, very unhealthily obsessed with him. And he took advantage of that, and basically I ended up being held hostage for 3 years. And when I say held hostage, no, he did not have me in a basement. He didn't have me chained up. But he lived right next door. And he convinced me that if I didn't do as he said, he would kill my family. He would kill me. And he beat me mercilessly. And I was with him for, like I said, 3 years, from the time I was 13 to the time I was 16. By the time I turned 16, I'd gotten to the point where I didn't care if I lived or died. And that's how I got out. When I went to him and told him I wanted to break up, he said, fine. I expected him to kill me. But the whole time I was with him, he was horrible. And he did really, really severely bad things to me. And for a couple of years after, I went through not remembering it. So when it started to come back, all of the things, I remembered him, but there were certain situations that my mind had blocked out. They came back in dreams. And I would wake up convinced I was back in his house and screaming for my boyfriend to save me, that this guy was in the house. I knew he was in the house. You got to get him out. And I've gotten to the point now where I'm in the stage of dissociation and hypervigilance and avoidance very badly. Relationships are almost impossible for me, and it takes a very strong person to be with me, which I am with somebody, but I don't really want to show all that on camera. I like to keep parts of my life private right now, for now. It's not always going to be that way, but for now, till I get to know my audience, I'd like to keep that private. But being with me is hard for anybody, because I will go through days that you can't get near me, and I just shut down. So my point in making this video, and you're wondering, why are you over here pandering about your problems? I am trying to let the world know, if anybody understands, it is me. And I want to get out there in the world. I'm tired of sitting in my bubble afraid. And I want to give that to other people. Don't sit in your bubble and be afraid. You at least have me to talk to, if nobody else. So please, I'm going to end it here. I've made a very long video. I don't want to bore you to death. I just promised I'd make this. I'm going to try to make a fun video next if I can get myself to do it. Like I said before, please comment, like, subscribe with the notification on so you know when my videos go up. And I'm going to put my little icon here. Hopefully you can click on it and go to my channel. So have a great day. Bye.